forward.
Yes, Kitswin, these figures are revealed in the Pakistan's economic survey, which has been recently tabled in the Pakistani Assembly. Today, in a short while, the Pakistan's main budget will also be tabled in the by the Pakistan's finance minister. And the shocking figures which are coming to light from the Pakistan's economic survey regarding the agricultural situation in Pakistan. It says that Pakistan's agricultural growth in 2024-25 has crashed to just 0.56%. This is a big drop from 6.4% just a year earlier. So this is a massive drop in the Pakistani agricultural growth, and this is mainly due to their major crops, wheat, maize, cotton, really plummeting in the yield of these crops has plummeted from to minus 13.49% for all these important crops from 17% just a year back. And this is mainly due to shortage of water. And what we have been reporting also, that this is the situation at the end of March 2025. If Pakistan is facing such a serious water shortage, which already led to its GDP lose by 0.6% points due to its big drop in agriculture, with the Indus Water Treaty tap now being turned off by India, this is going to only impact even further to Pakistan. And that is what explains Pakistan's desperate measures to shoot off letters to India to resume the Indus Water Treaty, because it is expecting a nearly 20% drop in water flow to its fields during the Kharif season, which lasts from June till September. And this could be a body blow. And we have been reporting earlier how Pakistan's multiple dams are near the dead level, and already there's a 15 to 16% drop in the water flow in the Indus Water Basin in Pakistan, which Pakistan's official figures are showing. So all in all, very depressing situation for the Pakistan's agricultural economy, which contributes almost 24% to their GDP. And going ahead, things seem to be only getting tougher for Pakistan on this count.
Okay, many thanks for joining us with all those important details, Aman. I do want to go across to former diplomat Ashok Sajjanhar, who joins us on the broadcast. Ambassador Sajjanhar, very good evening. Thanks for speaking to us here on CNN News 18. Now, Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance most certainly is hurting Pakistan, and Pakistan is feeling the pinch, isn't it, Ambassador? That's why, as my colleague was also pointing out, it's letter after letter that is being shot by Pakistan. There's also an apparent change in tone and tenor, with Pakistan earlier threatening a war against India while citing this particular diplomatic strike, to now finally reaching a stage wherein they're appealing to India to reconsider their decision.
Yeah, thank you very much. They don't have any other option but to appeal to India, because they cannot demand it, because they know that they, so to say, don't have hold any cards in their hand, any water in the canals or rivers. So the only thing that they can do is to appeal and beg to India. And I think if the situation is so drastic and so dreary right now, then of course it's going to become much worse as time elapses, because this has just been about 1.5 months, 23rd of April. That's what we said, that we are going to hold the treaty in abeyance. Yeah. And it's barely 1.5 months, not even 2 months. And the lean season will come later. This is, of course, the Kharif sowing season. And, if they don't have water at that time, of course, the problem has been that even when the treaty was functional, the utilization of water by Pakistan was being done in such an inefficient manner that although they had all the water, but they were still feeling shortages. And we have seen even in recent weeks and months that there have been protests in Sindh, because Punjab is taking water that belongs to them, that they feel should be coming to them. And things are really going to become much worse for Pakistan. They might sort of, do all the earlier what they were doing, the saber rattling, that they had won this conflict, etc., etc. But they literally will have to come on their knees, because they don't have any other option, even if they go to any international fora to plead their case. We have seen what has happened in the United States, and that was their biggest hope, that the United States would listen to them and would apply some pressure on India. But the United States is not going to do anything about it. The World Bank has said categorically that they are not going to get involved in this. So there is no international fora. They might go to some other international agencies, but they are not going to get any a respite or relief from there. So the only thing that they can do is plead with India, but India has been very categorical that unless there is credible and irrevocable, irreversible stoppage to the fomenting of cross-border terror in India, India is not going to reconsider.
Yes.
So I think the ball is squarely in Pakistan's court. Any amount of pleading will not help them or help make India reverse its decision of keeping the treaty under suspension.
Oh yes, very rightly pointed out by you, Ambassador Sajjan Har, and the Prime Minister spoke of this multiple times, that blood and water cannot flow together. That's the stated position India has taken, and so the world is also closely watching this and not really wanting to intervene because of the specific reiteration that's coming from the top leadership in the country. Ambassador, many thanks for sharing your thoughts with us on this important update. Going across to Aman Sharma, who continues to stay on with us. Aman, these figures are surely worrying for Pakistan. The economic survey shows agriculture growth in 2024-25 crashed to just 0.56%. It was 6.4% a year earlier. We've been talking about the several letters which have been written by Pakistan, a sense of appeal that's coming in from Pakistan to India to revisit on its decision of putting the Indus Waters Treaty in abeyance. But what's been the government's official position? Apart from the messaging, how is the government planning to go ahead with this?
Well, Kitwin, see, the BJP's and the government's position is very, very clear. Top BJP sources have told us that the treaty is as good as dead, because India's condition on resuming the treaty is that Pakistan needs to take verifiable and actionable steps against terrorism on its soil, shut down the terror shops which are running on its soil, hand over people like Hafiz Saeed and Maulana Masood Azhar. Till then, India will not resume the Indus Water Treaty, and that is what India knows that Pakistan is never going to do that. So it's practically the treaty as good as dead, and the Prime Minister has very, very clearly said that water and blood cannot flow together. India now controls the tap, Kritzween, and it's going to build infrastructure on its side with the way of storage dams. Pakul Dam, Pakul Dul project is one project which could start next year in Kishtwar, which could put a considerable freeze on the water that is flowing to Pakistan. The situation in Pakistan's economy is in dire straits. Yesterday we also reported from the Pakistan's economic survey that the total debt has reached the highest ever level. It's at rupees 76,000 billion Pakistani rupees currently. It has doubled in the last 4 years. It has gone 5 times in the last 10 years. So Pakistan's overall debt is also in a precarious condition. And if the agriculture sector, which as I said contributes 24% of the GDP of Pakistan, if it continues to collapse like this with the negative growth, it will be very difficult to Pakistan to stay afloat. There are already World Bank reports saying that how Pakistan's poverty situation is also very, very alarming. Nearly 45% of the population lives in poverty. Almost 17% of the population lives in extreme poverty. They've added almost 1.9 million people into the poverty net last year, while India is a country which has been hailed by the World Bank for bringing out a record number of people out of poverty. So I think Pakistan's situation is very right now precarious, and India is in no mood to give any concessions to Pakistan till it actually takes active action against terrorism on its soil.
Oh yes, absolutely. As is, Pakistan is one of the most water-stressed countries globally, and this only adding to its worries further. Many thanks, Aman, for getting us all those details. Speaking of which, there's another CNN News 18 mega exclusive we've lined up for you this evening. This is jihadis in Pakistan army uniform, and once again that propaganda stands completely exposed. Pakistan's army has multiple brigades apart from the notorious Brigade 313 dedicated to global jihad and internal operations. This is highly placed intelligence sources sharing details with CNN News 18. Pakistan has many other brigades for global jihad and internal use. These brigades of Pakistan Army are specialist brigades that have conventional warfare capabilities with asymmetric tactics. They're posing multiple threats to regional stability and global security. One such group is also the Special Services Group, the SSG, which was created in 1956 with the US Army Special Forces assistance, initially named 19th Baluch Regiment. These units operate under a hybrid warfare doctrine, combining conventional special operations like sabotage, master and proxy warfare via militant affiliates, and political control mechanisms like coup. I do want to go across to Akanksha, who joins us with more details on the same. Akanksha, the propaganda stands clearly exposed. The involvement of such military battalions also extends to targeting Kashmiri youth. So give us more details of what we've managed to access via intelligence sources.
Right. These are sources, intelligence sources have in fact revealed to our security affairs editor, Mr. Manoj Gupta, quick screen soon after that entire interview of Yalda Hakim on Sky News with one of the Pakistani senators, Mr. Rahman, has exposed the role that Brigade 313 has been playing in Pakistan, and that, as we all know, was established in 2008 as part of Al-Qaeda's umbrella organization to join hands with, say, Masood Azhar in Pakistan and Lashkar. These were all created using unconventional methods like terrorism, infiltration, cyber attacks, rather than traditional military engagements, and have always been very close to ISI. So even though Pakistani journalists and Pak politicians have been maintaining that Brigade 313 was also banned in the year 2013, soon after Al-Qaeda was prescribed as a terror organization back in the year 2003. The fact is that 313 has been operating through proxy wars. It is motivated by extremist Islamist ideology, often invoking religious symbolism to recruit and justify violence, and they spread social media propaganda like Ghazwa-e-Hind. They are also targeting Kashmiri youth via encrypted apps, religious propaganda to build sleeper cells and lone wolf attacks. Now, important to also highlight that it was not just Brigade 313. There are several other brigades which are being used by the Pakistani army for global jihad. And this also, as you highlighted and mentioned, that there is the Special Services Group, or the SSG, which was created in 1956. What's shocking is that it was created with U.S. Army Special Forces assistance, also named as the 19th Baloch Regiment. They were operating under a hybrid warfare doctrine, combining conventional special operations like sabotage, of course, a master in proxy warfare via militant affiliates and political control mechanisms like coup. The SSGs have been working on foreign, internal, defense, regional surveys. Now, let's also talk about another very important infantry brigade, which is the 111th Infantry Brigade. It specializes in orchestrating coups. It's toppled governments in Pakistan since the year 1958 for, say, generals like Ayub Khan in 1977, for Zia-ul Haq in 1999, for Pervez Musharraf. They've been guarding the Prime Minister, the President, and Army GHQ, and have each and everything of civil administration.
And they employ unconventional methods, terrorism, infiltration, cyber attacks. These are just some of the examples. Akanksha, many thanks for putting that in perspective. I do want to take in a military perspective from Major General A.K. Sivach, who joins us on the broadcast. A very good evening to you, Major General Sivach. Tell us a little bit about these military battalions operating in Pakistan. Though they are dedicated military wings which work on the outside of the regular army, the propaganda is very clearly exposed today, Major General. How do these brigades function, and what exactly is the role they play in spreading terror, for instance, in Jammu and Kashmir and across the border in India?
You know, first of all, the difference between the terrorists and Pakistan army is minimum. The terrorists are considered as a national asset, and they are being trained by the Pakistan army. The special group, this SSG, which was basically came up with the help of Pakistani special forces, has been very notorious, and they are the one who has been training, especially the terrorists of Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaish-e-Mohammed. If you know that border action team, which is very notorious, which works close to the border area, have a mixture of basically SSG, also the terrorists and Pakistan army. And this cocktail is very, very dangerous. They attack on the post very close to the border. I, having commanded a brigade on line of control, I know they have a lot of nuisance value. But one thing is very clear, that Pakistan has been always using these terrorists as a national asset, and they are also, what they are doing is, they give them their own uniform, they wear these terrorists, and they operate along with the SSG. Another very important issue is that the Lashkar-e-Toba, Jaish-e-Mohammed has been also been trained in special operation by the Pakistan army. And the SSG is nothing but a special forces like any other country has, like we have a special forces
So
there.
these are men in uniform, but they're dedicated towards spreading terror across the world, not just India. And that's what, that's the kind of warning, Major General, that India is trying to send out to the rest of the world, including West as well, that has every now and then showed some sort of sympathy to the fact that Pakistan is now suffering what it was trying to muddle with India. Many thanks, Major General Sivach, for sharing those important thoughts with us. With that, we shift our attention to the next big story this evening. A major fire, do remember, broke out on board a Singapore-flagged ship after a container explosion off the Kerala coast. 18 crew members were rescued thereafter. 4 are still missing. 2 survivors, in fact, are critically injured, while reports suggest that the ship was carrying flammable cargo like pesticides. The incident occurred around 44 nautical miles off Vaikal in Kannur district of Kerala and 130 nautical miles northwest of Kochi. Indian Coast Guard ships Samudra Prahari and Sachet are carrying out firefighting operations and boundary cooling operations at sea to prevent the flames from spreading further. So the rescuers are still attempting to look for the 4 missing personnel. Attempts still being made to bring the fire under control. Going across to Neetu, who joins us with more details on the same. Neetu, 4 people who were on board this ship are still missing. Give us a sense of the latest you're picking up as far as rescue efforts are concerned.
4 of these foreign nationals are still missing, and the search for them is still ongoing. What we know as of now is that the fire has not been brought fully under control. They have been trying. In the vessel, there are inflammable materials. That is what has added to it, including paint, varnish, pesticides, several solutions which are there in these vessels. So it has added to this fire. So that is what we are understanding. The Coast Guard, the Navy is still trying to bring the fire under control, and the search for these 4 missing foreign nationals who were crew members in this Singapore flagged vessel, that search is still ongoing at the moment. Also, there is a concern. 2 weeks back also we saw that there was another accident off the coast of Kerala. There's concern about oil spillage and the hazardous materials within the ship. Now, in this particular vessel also, there are dangerous cargo, including environmentally toxic substances and the pesticides. So these are also concerns that have been raised, but initially from yesterday at about 9:30-10, this has started. From then till now, the focus is on bringing this under control and was the rescue of the people. There were 22 of them on board. 18 have been rescued. The rest 4 are missing. And 1 person among the rescued has been grievously injured, is what we are learning. And they have been shifted to a hospital in Mangalore in Karnataka.
Oh yes, Neetu, rightly pointed out by you, the second such incident in just 3 weeks' time near the Kerala coast. You're talking us through, what really did these containers have in them? There are reports that suggest that some of it was highly inflammable cargo, including pesticides, and that pretty much explains why the authorities are still struggling to bring the fire under control. But 50 containers, as per some of the reports doing the rounds, have fallen into the sea as well. What are the officials engaged in the operations telling you about the contents of those containers?
Learning through sources is that at least about 60 containers have been fallen, but the official information that has come out on these container numbers are only 20 so far that came out last night. But what we are learning is that more containers have fallen into the sea. We can understand that the vessel is still on fire, and the Coast Guard and Navy is trying. The Coast Guard is in the forefront of these action, trying their best to bring things under control. So these containers have fallen into the sea. Again, in the next couple of days, it is going to be a huge issue, like we noticed in the earlier accident also, where these containers would be floating to the coast, whether it will be coming towards the Kerala coast or towards the that is also something but that needs to be looked into. So that is also a concern. The State Disaster Management Authority is also on high alert and in constant touch with the Coast Guard to monitor these things.
Okay, all right. The state government earlier as well, when another such instance had taken place, had banned fishing within this particular area off the coast of Kerala. Is that diktat still seeing a continuance, Neetu? What kind of precautionary measures have been put in place to ensure that no harm is caused to people living along the coastal areas?
See, there are no specific warnings as such, like in the earlier case, because in the earlier case there was warning of hazardous materials, so there was continuous warning that people shouldn't touch things which are coming through the coastal area. The containers are still being removed in that particular case also. But in this particular instance, it's mostly inflammable materials, and this has happened about 44 nautical miles from the Kerala coast in Kozhikode area. So the situation is different when you compare both these, but still in this particular instance also there are concerns because there is dangerous cargo, paints, materials, pesticides, if all this flows into the water, how it will be. So all these are concerns which are being raised, but the situation looks slightly different when you compare it with the hazardous materials between both the incidents.
Oh yes, and clearly, the vessel emitting large plumes of smoke can still be seen. Indian Navy Coast Guard trying to extinguish the fire on board. There's a little bit of rescue work in place still. Many thanks, Neetu, for getting us overall details on this big story we're tracking down south. With that, we shift our attention to more. The shocking murder of Raja Raghuvanshi in Meghalaya's Cherrapunji, which has now taken a chilling twist. The probe reveals that Raja was allegedly killed by his own wife Sonam with the help of her lover Raj Kushwaha and 3 hired contract killers. Meghalaya police say the murder was meticulously planned. Sonam is now in police custody and was taken for a medical checkup earlier. She is also going to be taken to the crime scene for recreation. That's going to likely happen today in Sora and Meghalaya itself. CNN News 18 in the meanwhile has accessed an exclusive phone call between Sonam and Raja's mother just before the murder took place. During this brief interaction, Sonam claimed they were climbing a mountain and would call later. In another exclusive conversation with CNN News 18, Raja's brother Vipin has also revealed that Raja had heard Sonam speak to someone on the phone secretly. He even alleged that after murdering Raja, Sonam fled to Uttar Pradesh and lived with her alleged lover Raj Kushwaha for 2 days. The FIR filed by Raja's brother reveals Raja's jewelry, cash and wallet were all missing as well. All right, with that, let's quickly go across to Meghalaya Deputy Chief Minister, Mr. Preston Thingson, joining us live on the broadcast. Sir, very good evening. Thank you for taking out your time for CNN News 18. Sir, what can you tell us about the investigations? The focus is now going to shift to what happens in Meghalaya. The police there are in charge. The crime has taken place there itself. How confident is the Meghalaya police of the facts in its possession, the evidence in its possession?
Well, I think only one line I should say that Meghalaya police is one of the best police force in the country, because you have seen it, the way they handle things right from the day the disappearance of the newlywed couple until the dead body was found, and also the most importantly is the night where we ultimately were able to arrest the main accused and the accused in this very dangerous killing, which I should say a gruesome killing that made. So the credit goes fully to the Meghalaya police force, who really did their job very, very sincerely, honestly, and very well.
Also, sir, can you help us understand what is that first piece of evidence that the Meghalaya police came across that really helped them crack the case, or at least lead to the fact that Sonam perhaps could be the mastermind along with her alleged lover in this entire murder mystery?
Well, Jacob, I think I will not dwell upon all the details how ultimately we reached to the main lead for the arrest of those killers. As I said to you, I will not tell you all these details because if I have to do that, then I have to sit down with you more than maybe 2 or 3 hours to explain right from A till the Z. But what I'm trying to tell you here is see, the disappearance of the couple came to light, and then we received the FIR or also on the 1st or 2nd of this month itself. The whole machinery of the government could not sleep well. The police could not sleep well. And especially when we have seen the narrative created by different platform of different people. So, we were really painful. We were really hurt to see those kind of comments made. So I think I will not talk much, but what I'm trying to tell you is on the 8th evening of this month, the last Sunday evening, the operation took place, and ultimately we were able to nab and arrest all the accused and the main accused of this very killing case, which has happened here in Sora, Meghalaya.
Okay, sir, and if I may, can you also confirm to us here on CNN News 18 that one of the accused in this case, Sonam, who's also the wife of the victim, first travelled to Indore before she was found in Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh?
The crime was committed on the 23rd, sometimes in daytime, 23rd, and thereafter, Sonam, I think, and her colleague seems to leave the place from Sora in the afternoon, and they reached out Guwahati that same evening only, and the next day they took railway where they transferred themselves to different destinations.
Okay, so there's no affirmative clue as yet on whether or not she travelled to Indore before finally making her way to Ghazipur.
Yes, those details I'm not able to tell you right now, because now we are waiting for the transfer of Sonam from the from UP, from Madhya Pradesh, and then back to Shillong. Once that is done, the investigation will start here in Shillong, and we'll be able to get more clarity on this episode.
So I appreciate you taking out your time and speaking to us. We surely will reconnect with you, given that there's lots more to still come out and the investigations, it seems, have just begun. Thank you, sir, for speaking to us here on CNN News 18. Heading into a very quick break with that. We'll be right back with lots more. Keep watching.
This is the truth. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Do remember, this takes us back to Operation Sindoor and the kind of damage India inflicted on Pakistan's military infrastructure. News coming in, we're learning Pakistan's Noor Khan Air Base, which is considered a critical node in its military infrastructure, sustained significant damage in India's precision strikes during Operation Sindoor, and there's more proof of the same that we've managed to extract. Intelligence sources confirm that Indian strikes targeted key infrastructure, including runways, radar stations, hangars, and underground fortified zones. Satellite imagery reveals the destruction of a 7,000 square feet operation complex and command vehicles, as well as crater impacts near areas believed to store sensitive or nuclear-linked assets. Pakistan Army has attempted to downplay the damage, but intelligence agencies backed by high-resolution satellite imagery confirms that around 20% of Pakistan's Air Force operational infrastructure may have been degraded in the strike. In a big revelation, Pakistani security analyst Imtiaz Gul also alleged that the airbase functions effectively as an American fortress, off limits even to Pakistan Army personnel. He cited repeated sightings of US aircraft, undisclosed cargo, and restricted access to Pakistan Army officers. Going across to Akanksha Swaroop for a quick update. Akanksha, now military bases like the Noor Khan base have suffered significant damage, and the Indian Armed Forces in fact have been putting out significant proof of the same, but this one is also big in itself. Pakistani security analyst Imtiaz Gul alleging that the airbase functions effectively as an American fortress. What do you make of this big remark that's coming from the analyst.
Right, Krithween, it's also important to talk about the source. Imtiaz Gul is a renowned security analyst based in Pakistan, and he's been reporting on security and defense for quite a while. So when he is saying this has also been, Noor Khan has been a fortress for American defense, and that they have access to Noor Khan since 2001, that's big news coming in and straight from the horse's mouth. Gul's statement, of course, has exposed long-standing rumors of US operational access, which he has stated goes back all the way to 2001 for Afghan war logistics and drone operations. Perhaps that's one reason also now, if you were to piece together the US President Donald Trump's own silence when it comes to condemning terror being harbored by Pakistan so actively, and that has been a sharp contrast to Trump's previous presidency, where he was absolutely not supportive of the then Prime Minister Imran Khan. When they had met, he had categorically told him to destroy these terror networks. But the silence this time around of the US President has been deafening, Krithween. So important to also highlight the information that we are sharing right now. This is, of course, a CNN mega exclusive. These Pakistan air bases that have borne the kind of damages coming straight from Pakistani security analysts. Remember, Pakistan was trying to downplay it at a time when our multi-party delegations have returned after sharing all the information about Operation Sindoor. This is the kind of information that now talks about how the damage has already degraded 20% of Pakistan's air force infrastructure. Remember, this is coming on a day when Pakistan's budget will be allocated, especially when it comes to defense spending. We can also expect now Pakistan to take this entire conflict in view and increase their budget spending. But Pakistan's army is, of course, trying to downplay the damage that was brought to their air bases in the interim night of 9th and 10th of May. What I can tell you is that the base's proximity to nuclear facilities has heightened security sensitivities, potentially delaying external access for clearance. The satellite imagery, as we had already talked about during Operation Sindoor, had gone on to indicate how close to 7,000 square feet of land near the strike sites had been damaged. Indian attacks have severely hit Saab-e AWACS. This is a strategic location 25 kilometers from Islamabad. It's also adjacent to the Pakistani army headquarters and also the nuclear command center. So this, of course, entire damage is also symbolic. It's not just hit the morale of the Pakistani Air Force bases, but the entire Pakistan army. It symbolizes a direct breach of Pakistan's core defense systems. The base has also Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones and has served as the nerve center for the Air Mobility Command increased operational bases. Now with, we are also looking at the kind of debris management that is all on. There are heaps of rubbles, as has already been confirmed by various Pakistani senators who are going and doling out interviews to international news publications and various channels. They've gone on to talk about how various air bases have been reduced to a state of rubble. There's debris, and Pakistan's military initially, of course, as we have been.
Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5. Back with the breaking news response. Defense Minister Rajnath Singh has slammed the UNSC move of making Pakistan the vice chair of the counter-terrorism panel. He said the counter-terrorism panel was formed after 9/11 attacks and it is known who carried out 9/11. Rajnath Singh further says it's not hidden that Pakistan sheltered the mastermind of the 9/11 attack. Going across to Aman Sharma, who joins us with more details. Aman, this is once again Defense Minister Rajnath Singh leading from the front in hitting out at the UN for the UNSC for making Pakistan the vice chair of its own counter-terrorism panel. The Raksha Mantri very clearly highlighting, or rather talking about the manner in which this anti-terror panel was formed, the timing of it all, and most importantly the line where he says this is like asking the cat to protect the milk.
Well, absolutely, Kritswin. This is the first big response coming from a senior government minister, Indian government minister, against the move of the UNSC to make Pakistan the vice chair of this counter-terror panel. And Rajnath Singh mincing no words, telling it to the UN that this particular panel, in fact, was formed in the aftermath of the 9/11 attacks. Rajnath Singh saying the world knows who sheltered the mastermind of the 9/11 attacks, Osama bin Laden in Abbottabad, and he's telling the UN that this decision is completely shocking. It is like telling the cat to guard the milk. To quote Mr. Rajnath Singh, he's saying that it is not hidden from anyone that Pakistan had sheltered the mastermind of the attack. This is like asking a cat to guard the milk. This decision, Rajnath Singh, is not only shocking but also reflects the seriousness of an organization like the UN on the issue of terrorism. He's also saying, how can one forget that this is the same Pakistan whose land has been used as a safe haven for global terrorist organizations? He's citing the example of Hafiz Saeed and Maulana Masood Azhar roaming free in Pakistan, saying that Pakistan army officials attending the funerals of Pakistani terrorists, and this is the Rajnath Singh described it as a cruel joke. He's saying that the organizations like the UN need to seriously consider this move of making Pakistan the vice chair of its counter-terrorism panel, because he said this raises serious questions on the intentions and the policies of the international system, and this is a mockery of the global fight against terrorism. Extremely strong words used by India's defense minister on Pakistan getting a chair at the UN as a vice chair at the UN counter-terrorism panel.
Oh yes, another reminder to the international community that Pakistan is host to the world's largest number of UN-proscribed terrorists and terror groups. Many thanks, Aman, for getting us all those details. A quick breather with that. We'll be right back.
This is the track. This is News 18 Network. India's largest news network.
Do remember, this takes us back to Operation Sindoor and the kind of damage India inflicted on Pakistan's military infrastructure. News coming in, we're learning Pakistan's Noor Khan Air Base, which is considered a critical node in its military infrastructure, sustained significant damage in India's precision strikes during Operation Sindoor, and there's more proof of the same that we've managed to extract. Intelligence sources confirm that Indian strikes targeted key infrastructure, including runways, radar stations, hangars, and underground fortified zones. Satellite imagery reveals the destruction of a 7,000 square feet operation complex and command vehicles, as well as crater impacts near areas believed to store sensitive or nuclear-linked assets. Pakistan Army has attempted to downplay the damage, but intelligence agencies backed by high-resolution satellite imagery confirms that around 20% of Pakistan's Air Force operational infrastructure may have been degraded in the strike. In a big revelation, Pakistani security analyst Imtiaz Gul also alleged that the airbase functions effectively as an American fortress, off limits even to Pakistan Army personnel. He cited repeated sightings of US aircraft, undisclosed cargo, and restricted access to Pakistan Army officers. Going across to Akanksha Swaroop for a quick update. Akanksha, now military bases like the Noor Khan base have suffered significant damage, and the Indian Armed Forces in fact have been putting out significant proof of the same, but this one is also big in itself. Pakistani security analyst Imtiaz Gul alleging that the airbase functions effectively as an American fortress. What do you make of this big remark that's coming from the analyst?
Right, Krithwin, it's also important to talk about the source. Imtiaz Gul is a renowned security analyst based in Pakistan, and he's been reporting on security and defense for quite a while. So when he is saying this has also been, Noor Khan has been a fortress for American defense and that they have access to Noor Khan since 2001, that's big news coming in and straight from the horse's mouth. Gul's statement, of course, has exposed long-standing rumors of US operational access, which he has stated goes back all the way to 2001 for Afghan war logistics and drone operations. Perhaps that's one reason also now, if you were to piece together the US President Donald Trump's own silence when it comes to condemning terror being harbored by Pakistan so actively, and that has been a sharp contrast to Trump's previous presidency, where he was absolutely not supportive of the then Prime Minister Imran Khan. When they had met, he had categorically told him to destroy these terror networks. But the silence this time around of the US President has been deafening, Kritsween. So important to also highlight the information that we are sharing right now. This is, of course, a CNN mega exclusive. These Pakistan air bases that have borne the kind of damages coming straight from Pakistani security analysts. Remember, Pakistan was trying to downplay it at a time when our multi-party delegations have returned after sharing all the information about Operation Sindoor. This is the kind of information that now talks about how the damage has already degraded 20% of Pakistan's air force infrastructure. Remember, this is coming on a day when Pakistan's budget will be allocated, especially when it comes to defense spending. We can also expect now Pakistan to take this entire conflict in view and increase their budget spending. But Pakistan's army is, of course, trying to downplay the damage that was brought to their air bases in the interim night of 9th and 10th of May. What I can tell you is that the base's proximity to nuclear facilities has heightened security sensitivities, potentially delaying external access for clearance. The satellite imagery, as we had already talked about during Operation Sindoor, had gone on to indicate how close to 7,000 square feet of land near the strike sites had been damaged. Indian attacks have severely hit Saab-e AWACS. This is a strategic location 25 kilometers from Islamabad. It's also adjacent to the Pakistani army headquarters and also the nuclear command center. So this, of course, entire damage is also symbolic. It's not just hit the morale of the Pakistani Air Force bases, but the entire Pakistan army. It symbolizes a direct breach of Pakistan's core defense systems. The base has also Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drones and has served as the nerve center for the Air Mobility Command increased operational bases. Now with, we are also looking at the kind of debris management that is all on. There are heaps of rubbles, as has already been confirmed by various Pakistani senators who are going and doling out interviews to international news publications and various channels. They've gone on to talk about how various air bases have been reduced to a state of rubble. There's debris, and Pakistan's military initially, of course, as we have been talking about, has downplayed it. But the satellite evidence is something they cannot deny, and Indian strikes have also exposed these critical gaps in Pakistan's air defense, which shows its inability to intercept ballistic missiles that have targeted these high value sites that have gone all deep inside. But most importantly, the fact that Noor Khan was being used by the United States as a base since 2001 goes on to talk about how perhaps this was a Frankenstein which was created by the West, primarily the United States, as Khwaja Asif also maintained that Pakistan was doing the West's dirty job for over 30 years, and this in itself is validation of what he said.
Oh yes. So we will touch upon the American aspect that clearly comes to the fore once again with these exclusive inputs and the big revelation coming in from insiders in Pakistan. Akanksha, many thanks for that. Going across to Major Manik Jolly, strategic affairs expert, who joins us on the broadcast this afternoon. A very good afternoon to you, Major Jolly. How do you look at this? Before we get into, the American fortress claim that's come in, it's turned out to be a huge controversy once again. I want a sense from you, Major Jolly, on the significant damage that several Air Force operational infrastructures have seen in Pakistan. About 20% degradation is what we're talking about if we piece these exclusives together. Not just that, there are satellite images that go on to reveal the extent of destruction. 7,000 square feet operations complex, command vehicles, all of this. Welcome back. You're watching Nation at 5, and we keep our focus on the shocking murder of Raja Raghuvanshi in Meghalaya's Cherrapunji. The probe reveals that Raja was allegedly killed by his wife Sonam with the help of her alleged lover Raj Kushwaha and 3 hired contract killers. The Meghalaya police has claimed that all those involved in the conspiracy to kill the man from Indore have been arrested in the operation they codenamed Operation Honeymoon. Police also say there were 20 core members in the team that cracked the missing turned murder mystery case, and Sonam is now in Meghalaya police custody. which will attempt to recreate the crime scene next. The FIR filed by Raja's brother also reveals Raja's jewelry, cash and wallet were all missing. Do remember, it became a multi-agency probe given that there were people who were arrested from Indore and how Sonam, one of the accused in the case, was found in Ghazipur in Uttar Pradesh. Here's how the Indore police has reacted in the latest. Listen in.
क्या हुआ था, अदालत में पेश किया गया? ये बिल्कुल जैसा कि आपको विदित है कि कल रात को ज्वाइंट ऑपरेशन चलाया जाकर शिलोंग पुलिस और इंदौर क्राइम ब्रांच के द्वारा ज्वाइंट ऑपरेशन चलाया जाकर जो 4 सस्पेक्टेड थे उनको 3 को हिरासत में लिया था, जिसमें जब तो 3 थे तो एक जय कुशवाहा था, दूसरा एक इसमें आकाश राजपूत था और तीसरा विशाल चौहान था। इन तीनों आरोपियों को राज कुशवाहा, पहला राज कुशवाहा, दूसरा विशाल चौहान और तीसरा आकाश राजपूत, ये 3 आरोपी थे, 3 सस्पेक्टेड थे जिनसे पूछताछ की गई और अंततः इन्वेस्टिगेशन में फैक्ट जो तथ्य एविडेंस सामने आए उस आधार पर इन तीनों की गिरफ्तारी कर ली गई है और आज माननीय न्यायालय के समक्ष प्रस्तुत किया जाकर उनका 7 दिन का ट्रांजिट रिमांड इन तीनों आरोपियों का लिया गया है। इसमें चौथा जो सस्पेक्टेड है वो अभी आनंद, उसको भी हिरासत में ले लिया गया है। सागर में डिस्ट्रिक्ट में बीना के पास से उसको भी पुलिस लेके आ रही है, उसको भी संभवतः गिरफ्तार किया जाएगा, उसको भी मेडिकल कराया जाएगा, माननीय न्यायालय में पेश किया जाकर उसका भी पुलिस ट्रांजिट रिमांड लिया जाएगा।
मतलब ये 7 दिन की ट्रांजिट रिमांड पर मेघालय पुलिस इन आरोपियों को लेकर शिलोंग चली जाएगी?
जी बिल्कुल, ये एक्चुअली में तरीका होता है क्योंकि 24 घंटे में आपको कोर्ट में पेश करना होता है ऐसी स्थिति में गिरफ्तारी के 24 घंटे, और जब आप 24 घंटे में जब आप देखते हैं तो आप पहुंच नहीं पाते हैं डेस्टिनेशन में, शिलोंग काफी दूर है, तो ऐसी स्थिति में ट्रांजिट रिमांड का ये नियम है कि जहां भी आप गिरफ्तार करते हैं वहीं कोर्ट में पेश करके और जो आने जाने की जो जाने की दूरी होती है उसका समय लेके ये यहाँ से ट्रांजिट रिमांड में यहाँ से लेकर जाएंगे और शिलोंग में वहां जो न्यायालय इनका लगता है वहां पेश करेंगे, वहां फिर पुलिस रिमांड लेंगे।
सर, पहली लीड आपको कब मिली जब 20 तारीख को ये कपल शिलोंग आया था हनीमून मनाने और उसके बाद 2 तारीख को डेड बॉडी मिलती है जो इस मामले में जो पति थे उनकी?
See, when the couple went missing and we started looking for the body.
I want to go straight across to Mr. Conrad Sangma, who is the Chief Minister of Meghalaya, and he's also been at the forefront of trying to piece together this mystery which had the entire country riveted, and now, of course, it has come to light that it was Sonam Raghuvanshi, the wife of Raja Raghuvanshi, who was the main accused, who plotted and brought together all the other accomplices to kill her newly wedded husband. Mr. Sangma, thank you very much for joining us. You know, first things first, there was a lot of pressure. Congratulations, first of all, to you and to the Meghalaya police for cracking this case. The whole country's interests and eyes were on this case. So congratulations on that. But when you first heard from your top cops that they've cracked this murder mystery and that Sonam Raghuvanshi was sort of the centerpiece of it and that she was the Sutradhar who brought about all the other accomplices along with this other person, Raj Kushwaha, what was your first reaction? Because it's still sort of unfathomable that a newly wedded wife would go to this extent to kill her newly married husband.
Yeah, of course. We were, in fact, very shocked in the beginning when this entire episode unfolded and when we heard about the missing couple and the pressure was building up from all angles. It was a very difficult situation. But once we started piecing the evidence together, we did not speak much about it in public, and the police, of course, was doing its investigation in a very, very planned, systematic manner. And they refrained from going to the press and the public, and we also did not speak much about it. But we were aware of the different kind of facts that were coming in. So we were quite certain that it's moving in that direction. So it's not that it was a shock to us at that last moment. Mm-hmm. We knew that it's moving in that direction. We had got good evidence, but we did not come out. But as I said, I congratulate the police for doing excellent work.
At what point did the police team brief you or inform you that this is what their suspicion is, that the prime suspect is Sonam Raghuvanshi? Because the body of Raja was found a few days ago. Her body, I mean, if the conventional wisdom was, and this is what everybody thought, that both of them were killed, her body did not surface. Was it at that point that the police believed that she could be the prime suspect?
No, as I said, there were many evidences and many facts that were coming to light. Hence, it was very difficult to conclude, in one direction that this is what's happening. But we could see that, that there was some missing links. And that's the reason why it took us few days. I mean, when I say us, I mean the police. It took them few days to really put the pieces together. But the larger sense was quite clear that it's moving in that direction. So we eliminated all the different possibilities that were there. We looked at all aspects. There were so many theories doing the round about aspect from across the border, aspects of local individuals involved. We did not leave anything to chance. So the police did an, as I said, excellent job in really eliminating all the different possibilities, and that's when the picture started becoming clearer that it looks like that. And then the missing link was, of course, Sonam herself. And therefore, once we started gathering some intel on the movement and realizing that she's there, that's when it became clear. And of course, that also was kept under wraps. And we must thank all the police, state police departments that have cooperated with Meghalaya police, and ultimately we managed to catch them.
In terms of the linkages, we know that Sonam and Raj were apparently in a relationship, so clearly there must have been some form of communication between them. But to be able to pinpoint, and I assume, whenever she's presented in court and whenever this case goes to trial, how confident are you that there is enough corroborative evidence with the police that yes, Sonam was the fulcrum of this entire plot, and that there was, for whatever it's worth, quid pro quo in terms of communications, WhatsApp communications, or whatever other platforms they were using to communicate, to be able to nail the fact that she was the prime conspirator of the murder of her husband?
Again, I want to refrain from going into too much of details. But all I can tell you is that the evidence are very, very solid, and they are all hard evidence with technology based, all facts based on whether it's phone records, whether it's messages, and of course now the statements will come in. So therefore, it is a very, very strong case. And the reason that I'm not going too much into details is because investigation is still on. It would be incorrect for me to say anything. But I can give you a very, very strong, a statement saying that it is definitely on the right. I mean, we are on the right track, and all the evidences are there, and this is a very, very tight case.
There was also, in this interim, in these last few weeks, almost like a concerted campaign that, oh, these two have been killed, they were on a honeymoon, they were killed by the local people there. There was almost a campaign to sort of defame, if you will, the local people there, the state itself. How did you confront that?
No, in fact, that was very, very challenging, I should say. And it's okay to point a finger towards the government. It's okay to point a finger towards, the police force. We're quite used to it. But what actually hurt all of us was more of the fact that the people were being blamed, and a very wrong picture of Northeast. Forget Meghalaya alone. The whole of Northeast was being kind of branded in a very negative manner. So it was not a very good thing, and it really was put a lot of pressure on us, and especially the police, to move even more aggressively. But I think the police took it as a challenge. We all, in fact, took it as a challenge, and we said that we will move in the right way and we'll get things done. And and that's how it moved forward. And I think what is more important now is that we need to really take this forward. I know that there's a lot of sentiments, a lot of people, even today, you won't believe, there was actually a prayer meeting that was organized in Sora area for the deceased in his respect, and they prayed for him. And that's how the people of Sora and Meghalaya and the Northeast are. That even though this was something that came as a surprise to us, damaged us, but for us, it's we look at forgiveness, we look at aspects of moving forward and realizing that this is a difficult moment for the family too, and we hope that we'll all overcome this situation. And I really hope that, in fact, I encourage people who spoke negatively about Meghalaya and about Northeast that, it's not just words of apology, but the real way would be to actually come and visit the place, meet the people, and be with the people. And I think that's really what we should take forward from here.
And very quickly, a final comment. Are you worried about any kind of knock-on or fallout because of this episode into what you said, tourists coming there and, other people from the rest of the country coming there as visitors and for holidaying or whatever? Do you think there will be an impact, or you're now not as worried because the pieces of this case have fallen in place?
No, I guess it's as you said, it's fallen into place. But as I said, the damage has been done, to some extent, and therefore we have to pick up and move forward. But for me, I look at every situation as a chance and opportunity to really improve things and move forward. So I do welcome more and more people to come to the Northeast, and especially those, as I said, who criticized the people of the Northeast. The best way to really move forward is to be now together and move forward. And the best way to apologize would be to come and visit the people and be with the people who you had criticized. Right. And I think that's a positive thing that we hope will come out.
All right, Mr. Conrad Sangma, thank you very much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18.
Thank you.
All right, with that, I'm tossing it back to my colleague, Kritsvi.
Thank you for that, Zaka. And now shifting our focus to what we're watching out for, something we're building up to, something that's going to take place tomorrow. India's all set to mark its return to human space flight after 41 long years, with astronaut Shubhanshu Shukla preparing for the liftoff to the International Space Station aboard SpaceX's Falcon 9 rocket. The Lucknow-born astronaut is part of the Axiom 4 mission, a commercial space flight backed by ISRO and NASA, with all astronauts representing national governments. The launch was initially scheduled for the 10th of June, but due to adverse weather conditions, it has now been pushed to the 11th. This mission comes 4 decades after Rakesh Sharma's historic space journey in 1984, making it a very proud moment for India's space ambitions. Here's what we're looking forward to tomorrow. Take a look at this report.
From the Indian Space Research Organization, AX-4 pilot Shubhanshu Shukla.
Namaste. I am Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla.
A fighter pilot for 15 years, he was selected as one of 4 Indian astronauts in 2020.
Captain Shukla, are you ready for the ride? Will you do some yoga in space like your idol Rakesh Sharma did in 1984?
The first Indian astronaut, Wing Commander Rakesh Sharma, traveled to space in 1984. I grew up reading about him in textbooks and listening to his stories from space. I was deeply, deeply impressed by him. This journey that I'm on, it has been a long one for me. And it started out somewhere. I didn't know that this is the path it is going to finally take. I would say that I have been extremely fortunate and extremely lucky to have gotten the opportunities to first fly all my life, which was a dream job for me, and then have the opportunity to apply to astronauts corps, and now consequently be here. The way this worked out for me was that probably a week before we arrived at Axiom was the time I came to know that I will be going. I was extremely excited to be here. I was very, very happy because this was a possibility for me to actually fly to space. You don't know how to respond to such things.
Shooks his wisdom. The knowledge that he possesses, he could be 130 years old.
For me, having him as my pilot in the Dragon capsule is great. He already has that operational savvy. He's just wicked smart when it comes to spacecraft technologies.
He is very focused, and he will basically go 1, 2, 3, 4 in a record time. I don't even know how he gets there so fast.
The team that I'm flying with on this mission, it is fantastic. I do feel that, I have exceptional crewmates. I will have these crew members for this one flight, but post this mission, these are going to be my friends for life.
It has been an amazing journey. These are moments that really tell you that you are getting to be a part of something that is much larger than yourself. I can only say how extremely fortunate I am to be a part of this.
It is my sincere endeavor through my mission to inspire an entire generation back home in the country. I want to use this opportunity to ignite curiosity among kids. Even if this story, my story, is able to change one life, it would be a huge success for me. I am Group Captain Shubhanshu Shukla, and I am the mission pilot for Axiom 4 mission.
Welcome everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. I'm Shivani Gupta. You're watching Plain Speak with me. Pakistan's economic crisis has been deepening over the past few years, marked by soaring inflation, currency depreciation and mounting debt. The federal budget for the fiscal year 2024-25, which is supposed to be a response to these challenges, is likely to be anything but. Terror state Pakistan is all set to raise its defence budget amidst tensions with India. Media reports say the government is likely to present a 17.6 trillion rupee budget for the fiscal year beginning